Today we're going to go over the operation of the BKR5000 radios that we just recently received. These radios are capable of about 5,000 channels. We have about 1,000 channels loaded in them. 6 watts of RF power, and they're very comfortable and durable in operation. Let's get started with its setup. First, let's talk about the battery on the back. There are 2 tabs on the battery that you use to remove the battery from the radio. And to replace the battery on the radio, you match the 2 tabs in and slip the battery up. And as you heard, the radio just came on. Also in this compartment is the Forestry Commission property sticker. This is the number for inventory, which also shows up on the very front of your screen in the 3rd line with your call sign, and the number by your call sign will be the property number. We'll talk more about that later. Again, some of the radios are a little stiffer than others because they're brand new. It's recommended you just press the 2 battery tabs in and push the battery up, and it locks in place. First, we'll talk about the power on. Turn this knob. Cuts the radio on and sets your volume. This is the channel selector knob. This selects the channel that you want to operate on. There are no stops. Like typical 16-channel radios, you can continuously turn this knob and it will turn as far as you want to go in your zone. Some zones may have as little as 25 channels. Other zones may have almost 100. Under the channel selector switch is a rocker switch with positions A, B, C, and D. These are your zones that you most commonly use in your particular area of the state. D is assigned to the command zone. C is assigned to your closest zone that you'll be operating on a daily basis. B will be assigned to the zone that is the next closest to you that you may travel to assist. And A is the statewide zone. The orange button is the nuisance delete button. You're typically familiar with the nuisance delete function on your Motorola's and also on the BK mobiles. Whenever someone is talking that is driving you crazy, press and hold the button and the channel goes away from your scan list. One function under the volume control is the lock. This is a keypad lock. Everything except for the push to talk will be locked whenever the lock position is on. This is so you don't accidentally bump your radio and jump on another channel or talk to someone you're not supposed to by accident whenever you're firefighting or doing other strenuous work. Again, if you try to hit a button while it's locked, you'll get the bonk. Again, the only button that will work at this time is the push to talk. The antenna is very similar to your Kenwood. The antenna, if you need to replace it, unscrews. Same connector. To replace it, screw it back in. The next buttons we're going to talk about are the buttons on the side. This is the home button, this is the menu button, and this is a backlight button. First, let's talk about the home button. Just like with your Motorola radios and your BK mobiles, the home button works the same. Press the home button, it goes to the home channel. On the BK portables, unlike the mobiles and the Motorola's, if you press the button again, it goes to the last channel that was selected on your knob on top. For example, it went to Tactical 3. If you press it again, it goes to the home channel of Florence. This is a feature that we're working with the factory to add to the mobile software. So hopefully this will be fixed in the near future. Select the channel you want to be home. Let's go to the bottom button. We'll skip the menu button for a minute. Go to the bottom button. It is the display brightness selector. Sometimes folks may want it a little bit brighter, a little bit darker. You can actually select which one you want by pressing the next and previous buttons on the front screen. I just keep it on auto. We're going to save the menu for last, so let's go to the front screen from this point. The front panel of the BK Portable is very similar to the BK Mobile. Instead of touchscreen buttons, we have hard push buttons under the labels. Let's talk about zone. Just like with the Mobile, press zone to change zones. Currently it's on zone 23, which is the command zone. If I wanted to go to the Florence zone, I have two ways to do it from the command zone. I can use the previous, there it is, BR2, BR3, enter. I can go that way, or go back to my command zone where I was, go to zone, and if I know the digit over here, or the number of the zone, I can fast enter it. It was zone 9. Enter. So 9, enter, I can go to the Black River 2, 3 zone. So two ways. You can go in through the previous and next, or you can go in through the direct number entry. The same would apply for your channels in the radio. If you know what your channel order is in the radio, and I'm going to go back to the command zone to show this. I want to go to TAC 4. So instead of turning my knob to TAC 4, I can actually go 4, enter, and go to TAC 4, which will be rather quick to change channels, especially with numbers you know. You may get to a point you know which numbers assigned to your channel, like for Florence. Florence being 0, 9, or 10. I think it's 10, so let's see what happens. And it's 10. So if you know your number, you can actually go to the repeater, and this may take some time, but you can, over time, know what numbers are in your zone and get familiar with your zone. You can switch to fire departments or tacticals in a quick way without even touching your knob on the top. The next thing we'll talk about will be the scan. Most of you are familiar with the scan. To scan, obviously you mash the scan button, the light goes green, you turn your scan on. To select channels in your scan list, mash Scan Plus. Most of you are familiar with your Kenwood. If there is a check mark present by the channel, it's in scan. If there's not a check mark present, it's not in scan. And that is selected over here with the plus and the minus. Let's put Florence in scan. Florence is now in scan. Now, to save this, very important, you have to mash Escape to save your scan list. And it says Setting Saved. A couple of other buttons that are available for options is the star and the hashtag, or pound as old timers used to call it. If you press the star, you get a battery life test. It will tell you how much battery you have left. It will give you that in percentage. It will give you the current capacity. And it also calculates based on current usage how long that battery will last. The pound or hashtag button turns the monitor on. If you want to turn your tone-coded squelch or digital-coded squelch off and monitor everything on the channel, which may include distant fire departments or weak signals, you may press this button. There'll be more about this in the menu, but if you see the speaker symbol and you're hearing things you don't want to hear, be sure you press this button. The one button below the push to talk is the menu button. This is where the configuration of the radio is set. First is the backlight. We talked about the button on the bottom left and the backlight are the same. But just for a quick review, enter, and you can set your backlight. We're going to leave it on auto and escape. The next setting is squelch adjust. Squelch adjust is just like on the mobile. It's pretty well set and don't need to be changed unless it's a special purpose, and most likely you're going to call someone and ask someone before you actually make this adjustment. Because certain channels you may find a situation you need to adjust it, but please give us a call first before you do it. Enter, adjust. You can either do one particular channel or a zone or all channels. Again, if you have a particular channel that you're having problems with, give us a call and we'll talk to you about it. However, if you look, the adjustment should be here almost to the end, 2 notches from the end. This also applies to the BK Mobile. Same setting, same place. The next one is versions. That's mainly for us technical people to know what version of software you got. Not a whole lot you can do there. One thing that does show up front, again, is your call sign and your property number. We didn't talk about what was on the screen, so while we're talking about the property number and the call sign, let's show it. Let's escape from the menu. If you notice, you have your channel on top. You have your zone name below it. Your call sign, in this case, we put video for today's video, but it may be Barnwell 13, it may be Marion 13, it may be Sumter 13, or East 13. And then your property number that's on your decal sticker on the back is beside it. So if they ask you what your property number is, it's right by your call sign on line number 3. Back to the menu. Cloning, this is if you go out of state. We won't be using this on a day-to-day basis, but it's there for out-of-state use if you have to take it with you. Just want to show you it is programmed and ready. Battery life, the same as the button. We talked about that. It's updating. Still at 100%. Tells you how many milliamp hour of current you've got and what your projected run time is on your radio. Also, if you look on the front panel of the radio, there is a battery symbol. This will either be green, yellow, orange, or red to show you the status of the battery. So there's a quick indicator to let you know if your battery's good, starting to wear down, or almost dead. Video contrast. Didn't see a whole lot of change in this. We left it in here. You can adjust your contrast. I would leave it exactly where the factory set it. The next function is the monitor mode. The monitor mode is where you can have your coded squelch, tone squelch turned off to hear everything on the channel as we discussed with the pound or hashtag button. The menu selection gives you another option. If you go to the monitor mode, obviously it's off, is where it should be. If you turn it on, you'll hear everything on the channel, but it'll still be quiet. If you get into a situation where you've got a person that is in trouble, you want to pick up an extremely weak signal, maybe a life and death situation, and the weakest signal counts, you may want to open the receiver on that particular tactical channel to actually hear the transmission. If you hold your radio the right way, you may be able to get enough information to be able to hear that person call for help or other emergency need. To do that, go to Open. And then turn it off whenever you're finished. This could be a safety factor that you might need in case of an emergency. The next selection is Priority Scan. And whenever you're in the monitor mode, in order to open the receiver, the priority scan and the actual channel scan have to be totally off, and the receiver is nothing but a total monitor on that one particular channel. If you try to operate the monitor mode open with priority scan on or channel scan on, it will tell you it's disabled and you can't open the receiver. This is the setting for the priority scan. Typically, we turn the priority scan on because the way priority scan works, let me turn it on. The way priority scan works, if you're scanning and a fire department starts talking, if you have your priority scan on and MACB is your priority channel, the radio will go from the fire department back to MACB and you'll be able to hear the transmission on the MACB repeater. If you don't have the priority scan turned on, the fire department will continue to talk and you'll miss the important message you may be getting on the MACB repeater. So typically we operate with the priority scan on from the menu, and each operator needs to make sure this is turned on. A lot of times you have to do this manually in the different zones before it'll operate. The channel scan obviously again is set from the front panel on the main. Channel scan is turned on by pressing the second button, channel scan on, and the light turning green. If you go back to the menu, priority scan is item number 8, and you turn it on. Number 9 is basically radio information. It's just something that you really can't set. It's just for information again for us. Tells us what version of the software is in the radio. A neat thing is it tells you how long your radio has been turned on for this particular station, and it also tells you what the lifetime operation of the radio is. That's pretty neat. It actually has a clock in it that tells you how long the radio's been on. Rotate top display. We haven't talked too much about the top display because I saved it for now. The radio has a display on the top. I have mine oriented where if it's on my belt, it's facing away from me, and if it's on the belt, it reads upside down. If you select rotate top display and turn it on, it flips it upside down where you can read it if it's on your belt. Setting saved. Item 11, remote speaker mic attenuation. There's a setting, speaker mic attenuation on and off. Let me show you what that would do. If you have the attenuator if you have the attenuator off and you set the volume, say here, it might be pretty loud. If you turn the attenuator on to achieve the same volume you had here, you may end up turning it there. What the attenuator does is give you more volume range for your speaker mic. Item number 12, keypad programming. We're not going to go over the keypad programming. There's some things that can be set in configuration with the keypad. You have to have a passcode, and at this point we're not issuing the passcode. If there's a situation where it's needed, it'll be handled on a case-by-case basis. But there are some configuration things that can take place by entering a password. When you receive your radio, you'll have 8 channels in your command zone. Those will be tacks 1 through 6. We have 2 digital P25 channels labeled 7D and 8D, which are available to test digital with. And this particular radio has a fully loaded command zone. Let's say I wanted to remove a channel from the command zone. I don't want these channels in here anymore. I can go to channel minus. I can delete channel, enter, delete catch all.
Attention, Station 13, need you to respond to North Governor Williams Highway.
Darlington County Fire. Nuisance delete, that worked. Delete all channels. Let's take all the channels out of the command zone. And that's usually done, oh, I'm used to the mobile. There's nothing there. So go back to menu, zone select. The command zone is empty, remember? Let's say I want to build a command zone. And I want to build it from the BR2, BR3 deck. I have decided the only thing I want in my command zone is TAC 3, Florence, Britton's Neck, and New Zion. I want to keep it small for my tractor. I don't need anything else because you can't talk to the fire departments in Florence County. They're on 800 megahertz. So I only want 3, Florence, New Zion, and Britton's Neck. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You go to the Black River zone, and I'm just going to put them in order for right now. You can do it whichever order you want. TAC 3 says channel plus. I want to put it in the command zone, yes, enter. And I want to put it in position 1, yes, channel added. Then I go back over here to the top, and I select, we'll go ahead and put the airplane in there too, PDOP, put the airplane channel in there. I want to add it, command zone, yes, channel 2, channel added, Florence. And as you see, it can be a pretty fast process. And what did I say the other one was? New Zion? Okay. So those have been added that quick. Go to zone. We know it's 23. Enter. Look what's there. Those channels we put in. Building your command zone is that simple. In fact, we're going to do it again. Let's just delete Florence. Let's delete everything. Command zone's empty. So go back to zone select. I believe it's 9, enter. We want to do them in the same order we did just now. Turn your knob. You can go add channel, command zone, yes. You actually get pretty fast at this. Go back to zone 23, enter. And just for the sake of showing you how it works, that's the very basics of building a command zone. Very simple. You can get channels from any zone. You can mix and match. You could pull a channel from zone 1 and put in the command zone. Or let's say we had U.S. Forest Service property here and we wanted to put a U.S. Forest Service channel. Let's add it to the command zone. So go to zone, go up to U.S. Forest Service, district, that's North Carolina. Everything in North Carolina is in here, by the way. Let's go back to U.S. Okay, let's say we want Region 8 fire in our command zone. Let's go to channel plus, command zone, enter it in the next channel, channel added. So go back to zone 23, command zone enter. Look at there. Everything we put in command zones in there. All right, I don't want the Forest Service in there. I only want to use it for the duration of this fire. The fire is over, and I just want to get rid of that totally. Do I want to delete it? Yes, it's gone from your command zone. You can build your own zone with this radio. That is the neat thing about it. If you want less channels or you want more channels, you want customization, you want your tactical value repeater, you can do whatever you want. That is the only zone that you can actually manipulate and build. The other 22 zones are hard-coded and locked that you can't modify. If you go out of state, there is an out-of-state zone that you can clone or manually punch the frequencies in if that's the way you have to do it. And again, we'll give you the password and everything if we have a legitimate need. But the command zone and the out-of-state zone are the only zones that are unlocked to take clones or manual programming. The rest of the zones are locked. So if you add, or if you go out west and they are a zone 24, let's say Texas. You might have a zone 24 in your radio called Texas. When you get home, you don't have to necessarily get rid of Texas. Texas can stay there because your stuff from home will be locked in and it won't change, and you may end up going back to Texas. We talked a few minutes ago about the remote speaker mic attenuation. So now we're going to actually attach a remote speaker mic to the radio. Pull the little cover off, don't lose it, and screw the speaker mic in. Obviously, you push the talk on the side. Only 2 buttons on this microphone. The scan, nuisance, delete, which we talked about being the same as the orange button here. And this is the home channel. And again, it has the same function. It will go between the home channel and the channel on your knob on the top. And to remove the microphone, unscrew it, pull it off, put your little trap door back on. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the Clamshell, big old giant monster here. It holds 12 AA batteries. What they're doing in these battery packs is they're taking 2 sets of 7.5 volts and doubling them to give them more current. So that's why you have 12 batteries. Basically, same process. Take the battery off the bottom. Now my radio will not come back alive because I don't have any batteries in the clamshell. I'm going to flip it over for safety. Some of these may be tight. Mash the buttons on the side, slide it up. There you go. Maybe a little bit big for your chest harnesses, but that's being dealt with administratively. Again, the batteries that you have for your radio should last you all day plus. So this shouldn't be an issue except for a dire emergency situation. But here is the BK clamshell. To load the batteries in the clamshell, you have to unlock it and mash the tab and pull out. As you see, there's a place for 6 on this side and 6 on this side. Reinsert, push in, and twist to lock. Also, so noted on this, it tells you to use alkaline AA batteries for this clamshell. Only. Do not use NiCads, do not use nickel metal, don't use lithium batteries. Use alkaline batteries only. Here is the BK battery charger. Plugs into the wall using the AC adapter. To charge your radio, turn your radio off. Put the radio on the charger. It flashes orange till it figures out what it wants to do. In this case, it says the radio is enough charged and it's staying green. If your battery was weak, after the two or three initial orange flashes, I've seen as many as 5, as it's trying to think what to do, it'll either go red to charge or green to let you know it's okay. If your battery is dead and you put it in the charger and it charges for about 2 or 3 hours, you'll see a flashing green, which means it's almost charged. It is not fully charged until you have a solid green light. So when you have the solid green light, you can take your radio out the charger. As we conclude this video, I will say it's been a pleasure to work with this radio and to work with the Bendix King technology folks down in Melbourne, Florida. They've answered all of our questions. They've tried to be supportive. They've tried to take care of issues that we've had in a timely fashion. The radio has a lot to offer. It's probably one of the best radios on the market currently, and it puts out a lot of power. It receives real well and will probably be a very valuable tool for the Forestry Commission for years to come.